You are now listening to the Sae Bae Cast, the number one old school RuneScape podcast featuring guests from all across Galanor. To support this podcast, visit the Patreon link in the description.
All right, welcome to the Sae Bae Cast number 78 with Mason Breeding. Mason, how you doing this fine afternoon?
Hey, hell of a lot better now that I'm finally on. We made it.
Yeah,
Long time coming.
It's been about, like 4 or 5-ish months since we first started talking about getting you on the cast.
Yeah, it's been far too long. Played hard to get, but
Yeah.
I finally pulled enough strings to be here. I'm super excited. Thanks for having me, Sae.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm really, really excited. I've heard so many good things about you. Seriously, every single person that has been in some sort of business arrangement with you has just said how much of a professional you are and just how good you are to the creators. So that's always really great to hear. Eviescape loves you, by the way. He loves you.
Oh yeah, well, it means a lot. Yeah, Evie is my day one. He's my first client. We can talk all about that. He's one of my closest friends. We've worked together for years now, and we've been through a lot.
Very, very cool. So I guess I'll just ask you to briefly introduce yourself, because I'm assuming a lot of people listening probably have never heard of who you are and probably haven't heard of Crusader talent either. So I guess you can mix that in as well.
Yeah, of course. So I'm the co-founder, CEO, and talent director of Crusader Talent. Crusader Talent specializes in management services for content creators, particularly in old school RuneScape. We started as an old school RuneScape exclusive agency. And what all that means, what is a managerial service? Well, we focus on helping creators monetize their content, particularly through sponsorships. So just about every sponsorship you see in the old school RuneScape segment, Crusader is behind that. We're behind the curtain in facilitating those deals. I'm also a doctoral business student. I have an MBA. I have 2 business degrees and working on my 3rd. And so I spend a lot of my time researching the creator economy, how brands and creators exchange value, how Crusader can play a part in that, and helping maximize the value for the creator side. And that's what we do in a nutshell. Apart from other merchandise arrangements and licensing deals that we can also get into, 90% of our time is spent working with old school RuneScape content creators and securing sponsorships for them.
Very, very cool. So I've heard of other agencies, and I just want to preface all this by saying I'm not an expert in this, so anybody listening, I might ask just stupid questions, so just bear with me here, but I want to learn just as much as you guys. So I want to ask, Crusader Talent, I've heard, and I looked up some things. It was founded in 2019, so somewhat recently, and I've heard of Method, for example. Are those kind of the same things, like Crusader and Method, kind of Esport sort of things, or is it mainly just sponsorship focus is what you guys are doing?
No, there's definitely a distinct difference between us and, say, Method that a lot of the community is familiar with. We're not an esports org. We're not a team. We don't have a stream team. We're mostly behind the scenes. We do sponsor some creator events and help facilitate those. But for the most part, we're in the background working with the creators every day, or in some cases almost every day, helping monetize their content. And so we say monetize, that means getting sponsors for videos, just about ahead of every video that people upload. I'm speaking in generalities, by the way. Behemoth uploads every day. We're not discussing every sponsor for every video for him, as much as I'd love to, but we do our best to try to put a sponsor on every video. And what people don't understand, or may not understand, or most content creators simply wouldn't be feasible for them to do content creation full time if it wasn't for sponsors. Sponsors make up, again, this generalization and an average, but about 70% of a creator's income comes from sponsors, at Crusader at least. in the old school RuneScape segment. So they're absolutely critical for content to continue to be pushed out. And we're really proud of the work we do. But there's definitely a distinct difference between the two. So we're not a FaZe Clan, we're not a Method, or many of the others. We're strictly a talent agency.
Very cool. So, if you wouldn't mind, I'm sure some of the audience would absolutely love to hear kind of who's already a part of it, because I'm sure if people are on Twitter somewhat often, at least RuneScape Twitter is what I call it, they will see people partnering up with Crusader talent, and so if there's some names that you would like to bring up, just so people are familiar with who is all involved in Crusader talent and how many people are under the influence of Crusader talent, getting sponsorships and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm gonna rattle off a ton, so brace yourself. Again, mostly RuneScape creators who since expanded, but the names that people will surely recognize are Torvesta, Frames, Solo Mission, Rakesy, Vscape, Things Like Arena, Rarg, Verf, Rice Cup, Bitter, Behemoth, Abyss, Ron Plays Games, Sweet Badass, Alfie, Skillspec, Sick Nerd, Goody. He's since paused creation, but we're still working together, ready for him to come back. We have Colonello, Skidler, Limpwort, Rakeen, Zulu, Alkin, Tasty, Nine Rain, Ingus, Sparkmac, Crumb, West Ham, Dino, Pip, Pure Spam. Just to name a few.
That's yeah. I mean, you basically listed off all my favorite YouTubers, so that's really cool.
Hey, me too, man. And we also represent one of the biggest Roblox creators in the world. Actually, two of them. One being Think Noodles. He's got 8 million subscribers, 3 billion views. A little bit different than the RuneScape numbers that we're used to. And then Vitamin Delicious. He's not as high up on the subscriber count, but his viewership is just through the roof. Many videos, seemingly every week, that surpass 1 million views. And then we also represent one of the biggest Rainbow Six Siege creators in the world, the Godly Noob. Been working with him for a couple of years now.
Very cool. So how does it all take place? Do you reach out? Do they reach out? Or how are you getting these people onto the team? Or I guess is it appropriate to call it a team?
Yeah. I brand ourselves, at least internally, as a team. So Crusader we are a talent agency, but we're a community of content creators. So we run a Discord server just for RuneScape content creators, for them to collaborate, talk shit, whatever they want to do. They give feedback to one another on best thumbnail, video ideas, troubleshooting, technical issues with their hardware or software. It's a safe haven for content creators to speak their mind, even if they, perhaps things that they wouldn't put in the content creator Discord that Jagex runs, they can do that in Crusader. So, and I very much so brand us as a team internally, because truly what we do, what the creators do, impacts others. So, if someone slacks off and sponsorship half-ass, it makes it all the more difficult to work with that sponsor again, to get other people deals. And so I try to build a culture, a team-like culture, despite us, not technically being it, just because, everyone's performance impacts, everyone else. So they understand that. But to answer your first question, most of our clients come to us through referrals. We don't really do much outreach anymore. When we were first starting as a talent agency, 2019, absolutely, we were reaching out to people left and right and trying to get some traction, which thank our lucky stars we did. I'll tell the story soon about how we got hooked up with EVscape and then how it grew from there. But mostly they're referrals. And I love to just sign anyone and everyone in the RuneScape segment that. But realistically, we have only so much bandwidth as a team, so we kind of set some parameters for like viewership metrics. But they're mostly referrals, and occasionally, if someone will catch my eye, which I consume RuneScape content every day, so I'm constantly on YouTube and on Twitch, and so occasionally we'll reach out. But for the most part, they come to us.
So, what makes it so good to be on one of these teams? Isn't it very feasible nowadays for the creator themselves to get a sponsorship? What are the benefits of joining a talent agency like this?
Yeah, well, it varies based on the creator. So say someone like Oda Block, which we're friends, was at the wedding, and I'm friends with his brother Mo, who manages him. It doesn't really make too much sense for him to bind himself to a talent agency when he has his own management already. His brother Mo takes great care of him. So he's got someone full time, taking care of him, and so it doesn't always make sense. I don't want to, BS anyone and say, oh, well, Crusader or a talent agency is the only spot to be as a creator. Now, you can make it work on your own if the circumstances allow. But for most creators, it certainly benefits to have a team behind you. So sponsors do reach out occasionally, but it's of the deals we do, it's maybe 10% of the deals they come to us. Otherwise, we have a team, not just me at Crusader, we have staff, of course, but we have to go to them. And pitch the roster or pitch individual creators based on their interest. And it takes a lot of work. And so even things like fielding inbound emails is a lot, because the brand and other agencies' objectives are to book talent for the lowest price possible in order to maximize the return on their investment. So their goal is to get the rate as low as possible. The creator, in many instances, they just simply don't know what they're worth. They don't know what these sponsors are paying to other creators. And so the benefit of having a manager, field those inquiries for you is, well, look, I've got 3 years of historical data. I know if what is being presented by a sponsor is below expectations, or in some cases above expectations. I know when I see a great deal, and so I can advise on that. Also, there's a misconception that even when a sponsor reaches out, you reach an agreement, it's just boom, done. You may wave your magic wand and you get paid. It doesn't work that way. There's always a contract. Most content creators aren't savvy with business law, contract law, that can interpret contracts. And some of them can be predatory. A lot of them are. Most of the emails we get are phishing links. They're spammy. Otherwise fraudulent. Some of them are great, but most of them, frankly, aren't. And it takes, a set of trained eyes to know what's legit and what's not, and what's worth pursuing. And so I save a lot of time from content creators by fielding those inquiries, vetting them, negotiating them on behalf of the creator. And then creator just gets an executive summary. Hey, I've got an offer for, X amount with X sponsor. These are the deliverables. These are the due dates. You want it? Yes or no? Great. And then it's up to me to finalize the contract. And, we have a team that sends them the brief and make sure that the draft is in order. And then from there, we take care of all of invoices too. That's actually another big pain point that makes a talent agency a good choice in most cases. Is sponsors are the entertainment industry in general. I've come to find they don't like paying their bills. They're consistently late. We're constantly having to send reminders. I have someone on the team, our finance lead. He does nothing but send invoices and follow up with sponsors. And at any given time, even at Crusader, we're, I guess, a relatively small agency in the grand scheme of the entertainment industry agencies. And we can have 6 figures worth of past due invoices, and that's with following up regularly. And so sometimes we have to get our legal team involved in order to collect. And so if you're my point in all of this is, if you're an independent creator, that's really tough to navigate on your own.
Yeah.
And not to mention, we simply know how to maximize the value of deals. We can negotiate really well. It's something I'm trained in. I have a background in and years of practical industry experience. And so to have someone, in your corner, advising on your best interests that only get paid when you get paid, it's a mutually advantageous relationship for most content creators.
For sure. Okay.
I spit a lot at you there. That's a lot to digest, but we can go deeper in any of those topics if you'd like. But that's a good overview, I think.
Yeah, we have a bunch of Twitter topics, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be asking things that have probably already been addressed. But I guess one of the questions that I've personally gotten a couple times back when I was originally sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends like a year and a half ago. And I remember seeing Raid Shadow Legends. I mean, they have been just everywhere for years, years and years and years. And I always wondered beforehand, like, how much are they paying these people? Because everyone's taking it, clearly. And then I'm like, and then, of course, I was offered the sponsorship, and then I realized, oh, okay, this is why people take it, because there's a lot of money on the line, and you play the game for a little bit, and you get some people. Is there a rhyme or a reason for them going to RuneScape? Is there, like, I don't know. Sometimes I think, like, they could be doing so much more, but they're getting sponsorships from, like, people that are streaming to, like, 50 to 100 people on RuneScape.
Right. Yeah, man. Raid's been around for a long time. They keep the lights on at Crusader HQ, that's for sure. But I think with Raid, the well is running dry. I think the game might be approaching towards the end of its life cycle. Either that, or they're just simply have new marketing leadership that has scaled back on paid sponsorships. You'll see less of them. I mean, this may be a great thing for your audience listening. Yes, I don't have to skip through Raid anymore, but they really do offer a huge benefit to the RuneScape community. I mean, they've single-handedly kept content creation in RuneScape alive. Some of the creators that simply couldn't pay the bills without their sponsorship, that 1 60-second ad a month goes a long way. Pretty easy to skip it if you've had enough of it. But I think the well's running dry, but I think RuneScape is so valuable, not, the Raid to other mobile games and beyond to other sponsor categories, because our audience is rather mature. Take a look at your average RuneScape fan. It's, they're between 25 and 35 years old. They're mostly men. So when I say mostly men, we're talking 99% male. They're not a huge hit with the ladies. Surely you are, Sae. You got to be the exception, but
like 0.3%. That's pretty high. 0.3% women audience. So
yeah, you've got like 20 watching, listening to me right now. But anyway, it's a very targeted. It's a very targeted audience base. It's very consistent. So you have basically millennial men, predominantly based in the U.S. and the U.K. And so that's attractive for advertisers because it's really hard to target millennial men through traditional means of advertising. Yeah. So, it's hard to really cut through the noise as an advertiser in today's age with sponsored posts and ads everywhere, social media, everywhere every app you open, there are ads. And so millennial men, particularly men, but also women, sort of become a bit immune to them. It's easy to ignore them. And so the value to have a content creator, deliver an advertisement is, one, it's concentrated. You know exactly who you're advertising to. And two, influencers have what we call a parasocial relationship with their audience, meaning there's a deeper connection with their audience than, say, a celebrity. So Matthew McConaughey driving a Lincoln really doesn't mean too much to me. But much I love Matthew. We know that a lot of celebrities simply take endorsements for the sake of, and they're multimillionaires. Most of them are out of touch with reality anyway. And I don't have very much in common with an actor that takes an endorsement deal. But a content creator that I look up to that responds to my comments from time to time on YouTube or interacts with me on Twitch. It's pretty easy to see the distinction between, the two. And what advertisers have come to find is that, and academics research come to find that there's a lot of value in having particularly gaming influencers deliver, ads or sponsorships to their audience because they're trustworthy, they're authentic. And that's the key word when talking about influencer marketing, and what makes it different from other means, the authenticity of the host. So That's why you see so many sponsors all of the time. It's because, well, they're effective, and there's definitely a mutually advantageous relationship between most sponsors and creators. They're both exchanging value. One's paying the other, and so some of the time, yeah, what we try to, well, what we aspire to achieve is a win-win-win situation. So the sponsor wins because they're booking a creator for a fair rate. Yes, of course, we try to maximize our creators' earnings, but at the end of the day, we can't gouge everyone every time. Look, they have to reach a positive return on their investment if they're to come back and be satisfied. So we try to maximize that value for them. Also, the creator, they win, but also the key is the audience. So if they are being advertised a product that they'll actually use and like, or be entertained by at the very least, so they don't skip that portion of the video. In my eyes, that's a win-win-win. And that's what we try to do. We try to book sponsors for our creators that checks three of those boxes.
Very cool. So Manic Marauder 7 has some good topics that I kind of want to go into a little deeper. So Manic asks, best company that you guys have worked with, biggest sponsorship deal that you can share, and then he also just says, commission sponsors, are they a scam for most creators? And Raid Shadow Legends, how the hell can they afford so many ads? I'm really curious on your thoughts on commission-based sponsors where it's purely commission. So,
let's start there. I don't like them at all, and we pretty much universally reject them. Those are called affiliate-based sponsorships, and frankly, there are enough sponsors that are willing to make the investment to pay a flat rate to creators that we don't need to take them. They, in my eyes, I view them. They're sometimes predatory, not all the time. I can't make that sweeping statement, but most of the time, it's not worth the creator's time in your advertising product free or for less than what you should be paid. So what the pro to affiliate based deals is oftentimes they don't come with many deliverables. So it's like, okay, you're going to be partnered with, I don't want to name any, but you're going to be partnered with this brand, and however you promote it is however you promote it. Here's some talking points, maybe here's some free product. Well, free air quotes.
Yeah.
Here. Not really free, but
or they'll give you a 50% discount on their own product. Like, come on.
Oh, that's even worse. Yeah, if they don't send you the product,
it's not even free.
And so you're not really bound to a set of deliverables. You can promote it as much or as little as you want in a way that resonates with your audience. Where I find them kind of cross the line and be predatory, or when they give strict set of deliverables. Like, look, in order for you to, qualify for this affiliate-based program, you have to do, these things in order to qualify. And that's where I think they cross the line. If it's like, hey, you may or may not use this. We hope you do. We hope you promote it. We hope you are an advocate for our brands. Here's a percentage of sales. Here's some free product. We're a startup. We don't have marketing funds, but if this does well, maybe we can look into a longer term partnership that may pique the interest of some particularly smaller creators, but no one, like I tell you right now, Tarvest has not taken any affiliate based deals. There's just simply, once you reach a certain threshold, brands are willing and able to pay you a flat rate. And so we always avoid them. Most people should, but I don't want to deter or disparage any programs that could actually be doing some good. I just don't see them very often, Is that clear?
You answered that absolutely perfectly. I've also dealt with an affiliate where they call you an ambassador. They try to make you have like a nice title and everything, but it's literally just be our salesman for us,
Yeah, I don't love them, man. I don't love them. What was there was, I think, 3 or 4 questions in there. What was the first one?
Yeah, let me link it to you as well.
Okay.
So, best company to work with,
Oh
he
yeah,
asks. So,
yeah. I gotta say Manscaped, and the reason is, one, I love the product. I don't know. Have you heard of them? Say.
oh yeah, I mean, I've seen Solo Mission. I've seen too much of Solo Mission, I think, on Manscaped.
Yeah, he has one of my favorite Manscaped ads ever. I think he's the greatest at them. Yeah, Manscaped is
That was
phenomenal
definitely
to
a
work with.
win-win-win, by the way. That one, especially.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look, he's
good job.
the goat. Both him, Torvest. There's so many that I could name that do an amazing job, but particularly Solo Mission is always very creative. And so the reason it makes him the best is because we most often achieve a win-win-win scenario with them. They give full creative autonomy to the creator to deliver the ad in any way that they please. And so, and I mean full creative autonomy. They do give a brief with, some talking points that you can talk around, but there's no and of course, like the promo details, like you get 20% off or whatever it is. But apart from that, it's like, well, you make this as entertaining as you want. They don't put, nothing is off limits with them, and that's what makes it so great. And they're really entertaining, and they take care of our team. They pay the bills on time. They're a really fun sponsor. We have a really good relationship with their influencer marketing manager. Her name's Kayla. She's been a gem. We've worked with her for going on 3 years now. So Manscaped's my favorite.
That's really cool. So you just have like I don't know, a little thing going with them, and hopefully it's like a little, like, I don't know, healthy relationship, I guess, with Manscaped. That's pretty cool. What if I may ask, per a particular one, how is Raid Shadow Legends? Because I'm assuming you've dealt with them a lot. Are they pretty good at paying the bills and everything?
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. That's not an issue with them. They certainly have cash in the bank. So one thing that most people don't know is that most sponsors have campaign management companies that oversee their campaigns. So Manscaped is one of the exceptions where we work directly with Manscaped, but Raid Shadow Legends is developed by Polarium. I've never spoken with Polarium. They have strictly 2 or 3, maybe 4 agencies that deploy their ads across YouTube and Twitch. And so we work with one of the 4. Well, we actually work with all 4 for different creators, but they have someone representing them the same way the creators have someone representing them. So they've been good to work with. So Raid is a bit more particular about what they want in their script. They don't script it out for you entirely, but it's pretty damn close. That, like, okay, you got 60 seconds or so as a minimum, and say like 45 or 50 of that is like talking points you got to hit and cover. And so that kind of stunts the creative autonomy, and I think that's a part of what makes it a little annoying for some of the fans that maybe are resonating with this. It makes it a bit tougher.
I can see that being a bad thing for the viewer, but for the creator, I almost see that almost easier in a way, where it's like, okay, I just have to cover these talking points. And sometimes, I don't know, I can almost see as a creator, if they're not really caring that much about the product, if they're not actually into it, like trying to, I don't know, making a creative post for Raid Shadow Legends and trying to be completely genuine with it might be a little tough. So I think the talking points might be good for it, but for the audience sake, it's not great.
It's tough, and so back to that keyword of authenticity, and that's what makes good advertisements. That's what separates the good from the bad. It's kind of hard to do that with Raid sometimes because it's scripted, and so it's the talking points aren't always. It's sometimes they're not the most relevant for what will engage the audience feel, and they don't give as much creative autonomy as, say, someone like Manscaped, that I don't think in the 3 years we've worked with them that they've ever even given us a revision ever, like accepted the first draft first time for every creator we've ever worked with. And so that's the difference. But you're right, it does make it a bit easier if you have things spoken for you, but then the contrary is it seems less authentic, so it doesn't do as well as it could. So there are points for improvement there.
Okay. He also asks, biggest sponsorship deal that you can share.
Ooh.
Are there any crazy ones?
Yeah, I I've had a crazy one. I can't give the exact figure, but I can say it was deep into the six figures for one of our creators for a license deal.
Wow. I mean, I guess to preface this, if you want to go in and if you can share, what are the rates and when do people, YouTubers especially, at what subscriber count, at what viewership are they kind of eligible for this sponsorship? And then if you can give, I don't know, averages, I'm sure people would be very interested to, maybe hear how much some YouTube creators are making just based on some averages that you may have.
Yeah, of course. So it depends on the category. So say a mobile game, it's always going to pay a bit more than like an awesome brand that is what we call non-endemic. So like a non-endemic means outside of the world of gaming. So like someone like Manscaped is considered a non-endemic brand. Red Bull is a non-endemic brand. So they advertise in gaming, but it's not, a gaming brand like Logitech would be. So it'll range anywhere between 15 CPM, and before I start dropping acronyms, CPM is cost per mil. So when we talk about the value of sponsorships, we're usually talking about CPM, which is the dollar amount per 1,000 views. So I'll give you an example that'll make this clear. It's say a 20 CPM rate. And if say the creator averages 100,000 views per video, we can say that their rate is approximately $2,000. So it's that 20 times 1,000 is how we get to 2,000.
Okay.
Did I butcher my math there, Sae?
No, you did it perfect. And I believe it or not, I was in some marketing classes in college. I'm a dropout, of course, but I do know what CPM means, luckily. But so at what point do they actually even start sponsoring you? Like, is there like a threshold? Like, if you're only getting 5,000 views, they're obviously not looking for that. What is like the base number they're really looking for? Most sponsorships, at least.
Yeah, before I get, people are already keyboard warriors are going to come after me in the comments. 20 times 100. So the 20 CPM is the dollar, is like the rate.
For the
and
1,000.
How we got to 100 is 100,000, divided by 1,000.
Yeah.
So that's how we got to that 2,000 figure. So anyway, approximately 15 CPM to some cases 30 CPM and beyond is what a common rate for YouTube.
Wow.
Again,
30
it's
CPM.
Yeah. Definitely some of them pay that much. Some of them pay more, but that's a rough range for you to sink your teeth into. And then there definitely is a threshold. So for the floodgates to really open, you got to have around 50,000 per video. And again, there's people out there with 40,000 views per video that are getting sponsors just fine. But most of our brands that we work with, at least, really begin to be interested around 50,000 video. Subscriber count could not matter less. It does not matter at all.
Interesting.
I have a creator with 8 million subscribers. In some cases, he's making less than creators with 400,000 subscribers, just depending on the deal. And so it does not matter. It's if you think about it, it makes sense. It's all advertising. It's just however many eyeballs are going to watch that ad is how much they're willing to pay. And so that's how we break it down. But you can start, getting your first, like, Raid Shadow Legends is a good introductory sponsor. It really is. Like, they target smaller creators than most brands. So, if you're around 20,000 views per video, maybe even as low as 15,000, you could attract the attention of some brands, maybe some mobile games. But yeah, if you want the others and you want it to be worth your time, around 50,000 is what we shoot for. And that's the threshold we set for joining the agency as well. An approximation, but that's the rule of thumb we follow.
Interesting. The other question I have is, how like a video will continually be watched? I mean, pretty much till the end of time. Is there a certain cutoff where, this video for like this week, like you have to get a certain amount of views this week, or however many views you got in a deadline? Is there usually a deadline with it?
Good question. So most of the deals we do are that CPM is just used as an average. So we take a CPM that we know that sponsor is booking for. We take the average views per video and say like the last 30 days. So, say if someone averages 100,000 video and say that sponsor we know will book for 20 CPM, that we'll price them at $2,000, maybe a little bit above it to have some wiggle room for negotiation. But most, even if the video planks, our job is to make sure the creator gets paid as much as possible, regardless of performance. Of course, we want them to do well, but we have to make sure they're protected and taking ads that are worth their time. And so we actually rarely take deals that are on that CPM basis that are, basically performance model deals. But when they do happen. I mean, it seems like we have a couple each month, and sometimes it's actually more beneficial to have a CPM based deal. So if a video is really going to pop off, but your average is a bit on the lower side, and so the sponsor, they're just not going to take your word that the video is going to pop off. Everyone says this video is going to do great when they're negotiating, so they can get the most money possible. But sometimes you have to put your money where your mouth is and take a CPM based deal, and those are usually over anywhere between 15 to 45 days, with that 30-day mark in the sweet spot. Now that's usually when most videos kind of fall out of the algorithm, stop getting recommended. They're definitely, but generally after 30 days, that video is pretty slow moving, and so that's when we'll send we'll run the numbers, send the invoice.
Okay. Very interesting. I love hearing about all this stuff because I don't know. It's just interesting to see, because a lot of at least parents, at least boomers and stuff, they don't see the value in making YouTube and things like that. And so when you start really seeing the amount that these content creators are worth to just make some RuneScape videos, it's pretty insane. The times we live in where this is actually a possibility.
So, look,
yeah,
if I could comment on that, that's a part of the reason why I'm so inspired to do what I do. At first, hell, even now, it's not like we're millionaires over here. We live pretty modest livings. But anyway, we simply know we want to legitimize the career of content creation. I grew up in a household where RuneScape is a waste of time. I could be playing outside, I could be doing my homework, whatever. It's not something that anyone ever looked at as, oh my God, someone could actually make money by doing this. And through content creation, it enables people to live out their dreams truly. In the work that we do in other agencies, it's not just us, but we, mentioned 70% of the income of, content creators on average is through sponsors. I mean, imagine you're making $100,000, which is a very healthy living, if you ask me. People will agree. And all of a sudden you slash that by 70%. All of a sudden, $30,000 a year isn't really going to cut it for most people, and so you probably have to move on to other things. What we do is valuable. It gives a chance for creators or aspiring creators to live out their dreams and legitimize their careers. These content creators, and many of them grew up the same way I did, playing video games and maybe not being respected for it or looked down upon by maybe their peers or their family. And so now, we have this platform where we have this skill set and ability and network to make money, to make a viable career out of it. And so one of the most humbling examples of that is one of our clients just got outreached by Make-A-Wish. There's a kid that's really down on his luck. He has leukemia, and he wants to spend time with one of our creators. I mean, this content means a lot to people. It does. It's not just sheer entertainment. It holds a lot of weight. And so that's a part of the reason why, that is the reason, right? It's the heart of why we do this. It's not for the money. My whole team will agree. That's why they're on our team, because we want to give the chance for creators to live out their dreams. And so many of them are able to do that because of us. I've said it 1,000 times, but it's something that we're really, really proud of.
Very cool. Here's a question from USB. He's asking, and again, we've kind of already gone into a little bit, so if there's something that we've already covered, feel free to skip over it. But he asks a few questions. What's the catch for creators who sign with you? What does the organization get out of it? And how do you make that worth it for the creator? Especially since sponsors reach out themselves and have a savvy creator and a savvy creator could negotiate good deals personally. So again, we've covered a little bit of it, but I guess on your guys' end, what is the benefit for you guys going out of your way to find sponsorships for creators?
Yeah, well, we're confident in our ability to find deals and make them happen. That's why we only get paid when the creator gets paid. And it's a minority percentage of the sponsorship deal. And so there isn't too much catch apart from a small commission that we take from each deal. There's no retainer, there's no flat fee, hidden fees, no BS. And we'll represent you for exchange for that. And so what we get out of it, well, we get exactly that. We make it worth it for the creator because most of the brands they simply wouldn't be able to get on their own. I mean, think of these agencies that are working with, say, like ExpressVPN and Raycon and HelloFresh. They're sponsoring thousands of creators, sometimes each month, sometimes it's hundreds. But most of the time, those agencies that are representing the brands prefer to work with other agencies because they have a large network of talent, and that's less emails that, frankly, that they have to send. You know, why reach out to 50 individual creators where your response rate is going to be rather low when you could reach out to one agency to have, to get, pricing and availability for 50 content creators. And so it's kind of a one-stop shop for anyone that wants to advertise in the RuneScape community. So by being a part of Crusader, they get access to brands they simply otherwise wouldn't be exposed to. And so, yeah, I mean, definitely some creators are savvy enough to negotiate good deals personally. Some of them have that skill set, but their time is very valuable. They don't want to, at least if they're signed with me. That they don't want to. They'd rather spend time making content, editing, doing anything else, not responding to emails. Next time you talk to EVscape, you'll have to ask him how much he likes emails. I'll spoil it, actually. He doesn't. I don't think he's ever opened his business email. I entirely manage that for him. And so
That's awesome.
It's very convenient to have just brands dropped in your Discord with, oftentimes hefty rates, and all you have to do is say yes or no, and everything else is taken care of. So it's convenient, but there's also security in knowing that you have a team. The sponsor's not going to mess around and pay you. They're not going to rip you off. The contract is going to be legitimate. So having those set of eyes and not having to pay, say an hourly rate to a lawyer to look at it for you, it's beneficial for a lot of creators.
Absolutely. So what is the goal of, or the vision, I should say, of Crusader Talent? Is there a certain amount of creators you guys are really looking to push for? Are you kind of good with kind of a more, smaller, relatively kind of tight-knit team? Or what's the ultimate vision for you guys?
So Crusader, I have a rule, and that's I'll only sign someone if I would be friends with them, if I would want to game with them myself. I'm not here to just sign people to represent them just for numbers' sake. We bootstrapped our company. We don't have commitments to any investors or creditors. We don't, we have no plans on raising external funds. We don't have shareholders to answer to. And so, there's a lot of freedom in that. We can kind of do business our way, and that's, look, we want to represent good people that we would be friends with, that we could welcome in our homes, like Solomon here not long ago with his girlfriend, and that was wonderful. But we don't want to blow up into some massive agency that loses the personal touch that a lot of big agencies just simply have to sacrifice because of the sheer amount of clients they serve. So that's why we don't do very much active outreach to other creators, and we work off of almost solely a referral basis, because we have no specific quantitative goal for how many creators we want to represent. We want to be profitable as a company, of course, because we got to pay the bills just like everyone else does. But it's not like we want to be 100 creator agency in the world or the biggest in the world. We just want to be the best,
Cool.
the best for our creators. And so I think there's opportunity for growth, not just with signing new creators, but also working with new brands. That's where we focus our attention. Every time one of my clients uploads a video without a sponsor on it, it's like a punch in the gut. I mean, seriously, like I hate it. If a sponsor could have gone on that video, like they wanted one, and we couldn't deliver for whatever reason, it's not always our fault. But for whatever reason, that's money that evaporates for them and for us. And we want to exceed expectations by having more sponsors than they could even accept, which for some creators we do. Some of the bigger guys are booked out months in advance. We want to work more and focus our attention on more of developing the brand side of our business that reels more brands in. And so we've done that. We've hired several people who help that are wonderful at it.
So what's the difference between YouTube and Twitch sponsorships? Do you deal much with the Twitch side of things?
Yeah. Look, we represent Sick Nerd, Skill Specs, Tasty, many streamers. Most of our revenue comes from YouTube. Twitch, if you just look at the numbers, you'll tell which one would be more valuable. You have YouTube where you have creators, someone like Torvest who's averaging 150, 400,000 views a video, or you have Twitch streamers that maybe have a couple thousand people on. For some of the bigger streamers, you just simply have way more eyeballs on YouTube. That platform is far easier for us to monetize than Twitch is. They're definitely sponsors on Twitch. We work with them all the time. Ron Plays Games has been working with NordVPN for the better part of a year now, somewhere around there.
So
we've worked with Streamloots, we've worked with many Manscaped. There are plenty of Twitch opportunities, but there are simply more fish in the pond for YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, YouTube's massive. I also have another question about Twitch versus YouTube in a second, but I want to ask about, I don't know, I'm just thinking because you just brought it up, NordVPN. Something like that, when a viewer sees a creator that down in their panels they have like NordVPN, use this code to get some percent off.
Sure.
Is there a certain amount of like concurrent viewers that goes off of how much they're getting paid? Like how does the payment work and how much is it exactly, and how does it differ from YouTube? So like let's just say a person that I don't know is streaming to 500 people consistently.
Yeah, really good question. Absolutely. Again, it's all advertising. So in order to determine the price of an advertisement, or in this case, an endorsement, you have to first see how many people are going to be watching it. And so a loose rule of thumb, so say it's like a NordVPN sponsor or another sponsor where you've got like 30 days worth of deliverables. Maybe you mention them once a stream. You've got that brand panel, a chatbot, command, yada, yada, yada. It's around $1, sometimes $2 per concurrent viewer on average. So if you've got 500 concurrent viewers, you could expect to make anywhere between 500 to 1,000 for a particular sponsor in a given month. And so the nice part about Twitch is you can have multiple sponsors at a month. You've got people like Foe. His name pops out at me. Been loving his streams. He's working with like Factor or HelloFresh, and one of the two, if not both, and all simultaneously NordVPN. We've actually booked him for an Albion Online deal. Odablock, they stream the game together.
Yeah.
So like the nice part about Twitch is you can take like multiple sponsors at once and have them running concurrently, whereas on YouTube you can only have one sponsor per video. So that's the nice part. But they tend to be like less money as a whole versus YouTube that has just the potential to way more.
Very interesting. Is that I don't know if fair is the right word, but do you see that as a fair thing, or do you think that streaming should maybe be higher, but it's just been kept down so low, or are their rates pretty fair right now?
I think the rates are fair.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you have to look. for me to be able to say something is fair or not, I have to look at the value exchanged on both sides. So from the creator side, well, the creators are accepting it. So, they must deem that it's fair, at least to some extent. And then the brands are, that they're like capping out at those rates. So they have a price ceiling based on what they know or what they think they can earn off of a particular advertisement or sponsor from a creator. And so there's sort of like an equilibrium between, the price ceiling of what the advertiser is willing to spend and like the price floor of like what the creator is willing to take the deal for. And so as long as the price ceiling of the advertiser is higher than the price floor of the creator. In other words, if you have say a creator saying, "Look, I'm not going to get out of bed for less than $1,000," I just simply don't want to do it. And then if a sponsor says, "Look, we're capped out at 800," well, you have an impasse of $200. You're going to be deadlocked unless someone makes a compromise. But say flip those numbers around. If the creator is willing to take it for 800, but the sponsor is willing to book for 1,000, that's great. It's a win-win situation where the price ceiling was above the price floor of the creator, and so a deal can happen. So,
okay. With most companies, do you think? Okay, so a company that's going directly to the creator, is there a little bit of that kind of taking advantage of them where they will lowball a creator if it's not through an agency or through anything like that? Do you think that's a tendency for companies to do?
No, I think it's the other way around. I think it's the brands that have agencies that are representing them that will make the lowball offers. And the reason is you have another person in the middle. So most of those agencies don't have a fixed commission percentage off of the deals. And so say a sponsor, they get approved, $2,000 to sponsor a creator. So the agency goes to the brand and says, "Look, we can book this creator for $2,000, yes or no?" They say yes. And then they can turn around to the creator and say, "Hey, look, we're willing to pay you $1,000 for it." Well, the reality is they have 2,000. Of course, they need to make some money as well. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in business. But, if they're taking half of the deal, I consider that, that can be a bit much. And so that's why you need a good manager to, see that before it happens. But, agencies can definitely lowball because that's how they improve their margin. Brands, they could also do it. We have definitely worked with brands that come in a bit lower, but I think they're more, I think agencies that are representing the brands are more likely to do it if I had to pick one.
Okay. Box Terrier asks, how are OSRS content creators and consumers viewed by companies you guys work with? Are there any significant differences, good or bad, compared to other games and communities? And you say you work with like Roblox and a Minecraft streamer, is that correct? Or whatever the other game was.
Rainbow Six Siege.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. RuneScape is viewed positively amongst the advertisers that are looking to target men, adult men. Particularly in the US and UK, I explained a bit of the value of targeting particularly millennial men. But I will say it's because the audience is older. So if you look at Fortnite or hell, you even look at Roblox, you're advertising the kids. Kids have less discretionary income to buy something. So we wouldn't necessarily want, which sometimes they have done this and it has worked out. So this is like a generalization, but you wouldn't want a product that you'd normally market. So say maybe Manscaped as an example, you probably would find an old school RuneScape content creator more valuable to endorse that product than say a Roblox creator who has, an average age audience of 12.
Yeah.
So yeah, most 12-year-olds aren't buying Manscaped products. So yeah, that's why that's their value, is the audience is very consistent. They're adults with discretionary income, and that's what kind of separates RuneScape from a lot of other games that have, that have younger audiences.
So I want to take a step back and talk about before Crusader Talent was ever made. So you're a RuneScape player. Was
Yeah.
that kind of the reason you started grabbing OSRS content creators? Was there ever another game that you were like, ooh, that would be really cool to get advertisers for this game instead? Or was it always kind of like, oh, RuneScape's the game I love, so I'm going to stick with this? Or how did that all
Really
go
good
down?
question. Really, really good. And so I guess I'll tell you the story of how we came about to founding the company. So I've played RuneScape since I was, I don't know, 12 or 13 years old, ever since I could be on a computer. And I loved it. I was addicted, glued to the screen. It was awesome through middle school and part of high school. And the evolution of combat scared me away. I was not happy with that. Yeah, that was kind of the end of it for me for a while. Free trade was restricted, the evolution of combat, but that was like the nail in the coffin. And so I kind of grew out of it, and but I would still watch content creators. So like I would still kind of keep up with the game. Is most of most of the audience of RuneScape content, they don't even play RuneScape. It's actually a minority of players. People that watched the content actually played the game actively. And so at one point I was one of those people that didn't play, but watched it, kept up with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I was a kid, I wrote SparkMac fan mail. And now I manage him, which was a pretty cool moment.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I like Nightmare RH, SparkMac, Chris Archie, Torvesta. I loved watching them back in the day. So I would always consume the content. And as I certainly wasn't playing in college when I stayed pretty active and busy and focused on my studies. But I would still watch it. And so even into my early professional career, I still hadn't really picked it back up, but I had just began dating my partner, both partner in life and business, Brooke. I kind of kept RuneScape, not a secret, but I just didn't like advertise it. I mean, that I was consuming this content, a little nerdy, and we just started dating.
We all understand.
Yeah. And so the idea came to me when I saw, a sponsor to enter in RuneScape. I think it may have been Raid, where I was like, look, advertisers see value in these creators. Clearly, I mean, they've already demonstrated that by sponsoring the RuneScape creators, and they're doing this in other games. Well, particularly they're part of the entertainment industry. Endorsements are commonplace. What if but they don't happen nearly as much, is what I was thinking to myself. And so like, what if we kind of banded the content creators together and formed sort of an alliance, and that way we can, we can get more advertisers for them, like as a collective. And I suspected that a lot of the brands were taking advantage of the content creators simply because they didn't have management. They didn't know what they were worth. And this was all just a theory at the time. I had no idea. Just kind of pulled this out of thin air. And I pitched this to Brooke, and she's like, yeah, that actually sounds like it could grow some legs. And we took it, one of my closest friends and mentors is her father, who's a seasoned executive and has worked with startup companies. And I was just working a corporate day job at the time, and my fiance was working. Fiance now, I spoiled it, but Brooke was working for a startup, whatever, marketing director. And so we're like, well, we're thinking about doing this, sort of on the side. We're just going to see if these content creators have any interest, and we're going to try to test the waters out. And so he's like, yes, that's a fantastic idea. We're going to file the LLC tonight. Kind of like spit the water out of my mouth, so to speak. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I was that committed to it, but all right, I guess we're doing this thing. And so, we did it over a couple of years. We registered the business. We were originally Esports Talent Management LLC, and that's actually what our name. You can change your name as a business, of course, but that's how we started. And so we got the name. We reached out to a few creators to kind of test this theory. Is there a demand for sponsors? Like, have representation already? What does sort of the landscape look like? And we reached out to my three favorite at the time. It was EVscape, Rakesy and Solo Mission and Eevescape. This is before we even had a website or a domain. Like we just filed for the business, but that's, none of that's like public. So, I'm reaching out on a personal email. I'm like, hey, look, I've got this vision for, RuneScape content creators and helping them get sponsors. You don't have to pay me unless I come through for you. You're willing to take a call. And he's like, screw it. Yeah, let's do it. Took the call at like 3 or 4 in the morning. He's Australian. So I bit the bullet and set the alarm for 3 o'clock and spoke to him about, the vision I just explained to you. And he's like, you know what? I'll take what I can get. Sure. Let's just give it a shot. And he just believed in, complete blind faith in me from that conversation. And frankly, I wasn't expecting him to say yes. I gave a pretty compelling pitch. Look, I can put money in your pocket. There's no risk. Let me do what I do best. I had worked with some sponsorships at my university. When I was in school, have a background. I studied negotiation mastery through a program at Harvard. And look, I've got this skill set that I can represent you well. And yeah, so he said, screw it. And so, I mean, that's before we even had a contract. So we had to scrape together a contract and, get him signed. It after a while, we gained some momentum. We got, after a couple months of reaching out to sponsors and, built a halfway decent, but still pretty novice website. And we got some deals and they started to come through, and Evie gave me his word that, we did some good for him, that he'd recommend us to his friends, who are also content creators. And that's how we'd kind of get our foot in the door. And that's exactly what happened. So after a while, after a couple months, deals start to flow in. He starts introducing me to his friends and, endorsing me. It's a hell of a lot easier to get your foot in the door to manage a creator when you're already representing someone in the space. So Rakesy decided to join. Solo Mission decided to join. I call those my big three that kind of put total blind faith in me to represent them and to lead them and to form this agency. And that's exactly what we did. And from there, it just snowballed, man. The sponsors were biting. We were booking deals left and right for these guys. Word was getting out. And we sponsored the Battle Royale that Eevescape hosted. We're over 1 million views now. We sent hoodies with Crusader talent plastered on the front to every content creator that participated, and really get our name out there. And a lot of it, we put a ton of hard work and spend this whole podcast thanking people, but you know who you are that worked so hard with me behind the scenes to make that happen. But I really have to thank Eevescape for just putting faith in me and spreading the word once I proved my value to him. And from there, just snowballed, man. We were signing people left and right. We grew to 20 from 3 to 22. Well, really from 1 to 22 content creators in 6 months of being in business, all old school RuneScape content creators. And that's something we were really proud of. And this is while we're still working our day jobs and doing, Brooke and I were still in school for our MBAs at the time. And so we've got, full-time jobs, we got pretty much full-time workload with school, and we're also managing 22 creators. It was an insane time in our lives. It's before we had, a team to help us. It was just us. We had a, finance lead to help, on a part-time basis, send invoices and such. But at first it was just us. And so we really gained momentum quickly once word got out. And, if you fast forward a bit, in about April of last year, we decided, and so I suppose to answer your question, we chose RuneScape as the obvious choice because that's simply what I'm interested in. I really don't consume too much content outside of RuneScape. I don't play any other games other than RuneScape. I mean, I occasionally play like Call of Duty, and sometimes keep up with that, like some of the big tournaments that come about. I love Dr. Disrespect. He's one of my favorite characters.
Absolutely.
But yeah, RuneScape was the obvious choice because I spoke the language, man. I have played the game for ages. I know all the creators, at least from a fan perspective. So yeah, that was the obvious choice. And then I kind of got a bit of ahead of myself there. But come April of last year, we were like, shit, we should, we have the opportunity to expand into other games, but we don't have a reputation in other games, and we actually had like a brand referral. Our friend Chris, who used to work at Ironside, would just basically send us people. He's like, look, this creator's awesome, love to work with them, but it's been a bit sloppy because they don't have management. I think you could do a lot of good for them. You want me to make an intro? Like, yeah, absolutely. And so that's how we signed.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's no better feeling to have other people in the industry, vouch for you and refer you to people they work with. And that's how we signed Vitamin Delicious and the Godly Noob and Vitamin. That's how we signed Think Noodles, and then a couple of the other creators came along after, and it's been great. So like, it wasn't really like intentional. We knew that we could expand in the other games, but it's like we really want to focus on servicing RuneScape because that's what we know and love the most. But if there are creators out there in other categories that we could serve, we'll absolutely bring them on. And so while our RuneScape, while our Discord server is exclusively RuneScape content creators, I'll always keep it that way. Our agency at large is starting to expand into other games as well. So the choice for RuneScape is purely favoritism. Like, that's just the game, and it also happens to be a hit with sponsors. So it turned out to being a viable business.
Yeah, I think it's also a good thing. I mean, when I see Crusader talent and I see, there's a bunch of familiar names I know because I'm in the OSRS community. If there was like one or two OSRS creators and a bunch of other people I've never heard of, I don't know. It's just like, okay. I'm glad that, I'm personally I love to see a bunch of old school creators kind of coming together in their own little thing. So I personally think it's cool. I also want to ask if there was anything that you wish you had done differently. Was there anything like maybe some hiccups on the road to growing this business that you kind of wish you had done differently, or things that you've now learned that are okay, like if you had to redo it, you could do it a little bit better, or what?
Yeah. Oh man, there are definitely opportunities for improvement. Thankfully, I don't have any big regrets. I don't have any regrets at all. Any mistake we've made, that's just a lesson learned, and we don't do it again the next time. So that's the philosophy I subscribe to when you're leading a business, and things aren't, of course, not bound to be perfect all of the time. I would say putting a bit more faith in ourselves and our ability to make this succeed. I was doing really well in the corporate world, financially, professionally. I was making a lot of money. I was getting promoted. And that's not to be a flex. It's just the reality was I was doing well. And that was hard for me to step away from, to take this leap of faith. I mean, good gosh, there could be one tweet or one thing said that could tarnish your reputation, or the business could go sideways. I mean, that's kind of, a lot can go wrong, or sponsors could just one day suddenly stop sponsoring creators. Like, there's a lot of risk as an entrepreneur, of course, especially in the entertainment industry. It's pretty easy to get swallowed up. Someone going to come around and try to undercut us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or, how do we do that? And so I think it's not a regret, but I would have placed more faith in our abilities earlier on to take the leap into doing this full time sooner. Because, like I said, at one point we were managing 22 at, this is part time. I mean, but certainly a full-time amount of responsibility. And so it took us a while to scale and to, prove that this business model was viable enough to support ourselves financially and to step away from our careers that we, spent many, many years in school to, get the accolades and build the resume and get the job in the first place. To leave it all behind is scary. And so, but I don't regret anything. And if I could go back, I would probably do it sooner. So thankfully, nothing too drastic has gone awry.
That's cool. I know I didn't expect anything in particular. I was just saying, I don't know if it was little things that you kind of wish you had done. But I guess the earlier part is probably the biggest regret, if that's even the correct term for it, regret. But so here's a question, and I'm going to expand on it because I have my own question as well. But I know you had said previously that you guys are really focused on sponsorships, not really community events and stuff. Sons asks, is Crusader planning on hosting any community events in the future? Bingos, PvP, LMS, etc. And I also want to just add on another question to that, which is, do you think OSRS could ever be a successful esport or esport game?
Good question. Good question all around. Personally, I love community events, particularly when content creators come together. I think those make the really exciting content when creators collaborate. I love seeing cameos. I love seeing like not a duo series, but like a duo video. I wish there'd be more duo series out there, like Lincoln Rarg, Kanji and Bertozo that do an awesome job. But I wish we could do more. I really wish had just simply the time and the bandwidth to do it ourselves. But I think that it's better for creators themselves to lead the events. Like, we could never put something together like the Battle Royale. I mean, that's something that a mastermind like EVscape will have to do. Yep. And we'll sponsor it. We'll throw resources at it. We'll find sponsors for it. We will help with hoodies and help behind the scenes. And we will support that. We will empower creators to do that. And we sponsored Rob Plays Games. He did a game show series, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? That was so much fun. I would love to throw resources at that, things like that into the future. Power creators to do it, but I don't see Crusader as a company hosting many. I love PvP. That's my favorite part of the game. It's not even close. Pretty much live at LMS on the game. I pay rent there. And so seeing like PvP tournaments are awesome, but they're just so hard to run. And got people alting, seeing dead man mode. Yeah, a lot of cheating. It's really hard to enforce, but we do occasionally we do content creator, private events, and that creators can use it for content if they like. But we've done PvP tournaments in the past that are so much fun. I mean, imagine like a dozen of your favorite content creators all on a call together, fighting one another. I mean, it is awesome. And I would love if particularly our clients, want to take the reins on leading something like that in the future. I know we had, it was like Zulu and Rice Cup, and there's a couple others, pardon me, that donated into the prize pool, like a ton of GP to get, to incentivize some creators to participate. And so it was awesome. I love doing it, but I just wish we had more time and resources to dedicate it ourselves. But I like to see events. I think collectively, as a community, we can see that Jagex has kind of fallen short on events. Kind of. Yeah, I guess I was being nice there. They've definitely fallen short on their events, and I wish they would do more. But I just don't. I'm losing faith. I'm losing faith. I don't think RuneScape has the potential to be a viable esport. I just don't. There's so much goes awry anytime Jagex hosts anything. In order for a game to be a franchised esport, you have to have buy-in from the developer, and you have to have support from the developer. And to get things, even like a private world, or other arrangements for events that have a history, like the Battle Royale that has done really well. I mean, this event is going to get 1 million views plus on YouTube or close to it. It's going to bring in thousands, if not tens of thousands of people live on stream. Like, the community wants these events, and to get resources from Jagex to dedicate dev time has been like pulling teeth. And we're very grateful. Like, I don't mean to mince my words here. We're very grateful for the support that they have given, but I know it's not enough.
It could be more.
To really support the creators and to bring their vision to life, it's pretty difficult. And I know they're making steps to try to make it a bit easier. But frankly, we're met with like roadblock after roadblock when we try to do creative things
Yeah.
like that. And so it makes it really tough. I think, I don't mean to call people out by name, and I won't, but they had a head of esports at one point at Jagex. So at one point there was some sort of corporate buy-in to, invest in the future of esports at Jagex, and it failed miserably. It just didn't go well. And it was really disappointing to see, because I'm someone loves competition. Shit, I was a student athlete in college. I live and breathe it. I love seeing people compete. I love watching the community run tournaments that are on from time to time. And to see Jagex kind of fall on their faces hosting them is really disappointing. And so I don't have much faith that they're going to be able to deliver. And finding ways to monetize it is really tough too. So, finding sponsors to basically pay for prize pools and operation costs is really tough behind the scenes. I mean, it is really challenging to get sponsors to deviate from like a standard video sponsorship or Twitch stream sponsorship into, an event package that's, certainly pricey. There isn't a ton of history with events, particularly like you just don't have a ton of data to show them, hey, look, this is going to be a success for you if you invest X amount.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get that buy-in. So I think it's a culmination of factors. It's not all Jagex's fault. I don't mean to be overly critical, but
is there like something Jagex like that you would love to see Jagex do? I mean, is there something that they've kind of been holding out on, and something that could really like change the scenario of this all? And it's not even really a question to you particularly, but it's like to all the creators that you're dealing with. I mean, what is the main thing that people want to see Jagex do?
Yeah, I think through and through. So if you just look at the numbers, sheer numbers, the biggest content creators, with maybe the exception of Settled, are PvP content creators.
Yep.
Look at Frame, look at Torvesta. Some of Solo Mission content is based. But if you look at the big guys, they love PvP, and it brings in the numbers. It keeps the game alive. And I think PvP I know people are just so sick of like playing about lack of PvP updates, but it's really true. I mean, you have Torvesta making the same videos that he has for years and years and years to do a lack of variety in weapons and updates and things that keep the wilderness alive. I mean, I'm going to go out and say it. Bounty Hunter needs to be brought back. These are very specific things that I think they could do. The fact that they have 9 figures in annual revenue, and one of the most popular mini games being Bounty Hunter has been offline for 2 years now, at least. Yeah, 2 years now, and they haven't been able to figure out a way to make it work is just makes my stomach turn, frankly. It's really disappointing to see them not invest to developing PvP content, and I think that's what a lot of creators moan and groan about. We all sound like broken records, so I won't I won't beat them to death too much, but I would also like to see the dedication of resources for creator-hosted events. There's no doubt in my mind that the only reason Old School RuneScape is a company, or at least a studio that is profitable, that is worthy of investment, they're owned by basically a holding company, is because of their content creators. It's because of the viewership. If you look at the analytics, look at RuneScape 3 and look at Old School RuneScape. There's simply more people that play Old School RuneScape, and there's simply far more viewers that watch their content. They go hand in hand. It inspires people to play, it gets people to buy bonds. And so without content, you don't have a game, or you have a much smaller game, an even smaller even smaller company. And so I would like to see an investment in events that are creator run, but that are supported by Jagex, and that and PvP updates. Those are the two things that I would love to do more.
Yeah, one of my questions was literally just how important is PvP for the health of the entire game, uh, and I guess you've kind of already answered that simply because I mean that is what people love to consume. I personally I'm not even a PKer, and I love watching PvP content.
It's
I love
interesting, man.
I love watching Dead Man Mounts. In fact, I've even uploaded my own PvP content here and there. It's not really PvP, but it's like me going to the new Rev update. I mean, that'll be like my most viewed video. People love watching that stuff, and it gets them to click on it. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's I think I mean in short, I think it's very important. I mean you don't have to be a PKer to appreciate it. But it keeps other people interested in the game. It keeps the game alive.
Yep.
Keeps the servers active. And so even if you're not a PKer yourself, maybe you've got some Iron Men groaning, listening to another PKer complain about lack of updates and yada yada yada. But it's true. It's important for the health of the game, and I think it's been neglected for far too long. More action, more accountability from the developers at Jagex. There's no Mod Rock developed LMS in free time, and it's I don't want to make a sweeping statement because I don't have the numbers in front of me to know if it's true, but I think it's a wildly successful mini game. It's constantly active. Yes, there are bots, and yes, there are people that cheat, and you're going to get that in any mini game, but it's wildly successful, and he had to make it in his free time. I'm very grateful he did. It's my favorite part of the game.
Yeah,
but the fact that just screams volumes that that they are not the developers aren't able or willing to allocate the time necessary to grow that aspect of the game. So far more accountability is needed to actually make shit happen instead of making excuses.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a little rough. I mean, the little counterpoint I want to bring is like, I mean, old school RuneScape's doing just great, and all the content creators are still managing somehow. So I think Jagex is like, oh, they're not at like
right
the very edge of like, okay, we actually have to do something because it's going fine for the most part. But yeah, I mean, to secure a future with the game and everything, I mean, they need to start taking things seriously. And I think with Bounty Hunter in particular, now I'm not really the person that should be the spokesperson for Bounty Hunter because I've never really participated in it, but I know a lot about it, and I used to watch a lot of streamers that was their content was Bounty Hunter. I mean, that's what they streamed every day. And the fact that Jagex will not put, and I mean, my idea of Bounty Hunter is to just add some moderation. I mean, you got to have real people that are removing cheaters. Like that would be it. I mean, that would literally solve like every issue. Just have a couple moderators that can ban people. And they just won't do it.
Yeah, they won't do it. I mean, look at the Duel Arena. The Duel Arena was frankly, I like it, or I liked it as a player. I suppose gambled responsibly or competed responsibly at the Duel Arena. But it was a cesspool for corruption.
Oh,
a cesspool.
Yeah.
A cesspool. And if you frequent the Duel Arena, you know who the scammers are. It is obvious for a player to identify who is cheating, who is scamming, who is real world trading, and they did nothing about it for years. Yep. And it took MQ exposing them, exposing the cesspool that was the Duel Arena to finally get it taken out of the game, or not entirely taken out, but get it nerfed to the point where it could kill that corruption. Now, I think people have very strong opinions on the Duel Arena and its place in the game, and I won't get too deep into my personal thoughts on it. But at the end of the day, I just want to bring it home that it could have been cleaned up and it could have been prevented with moderation, the same way Bounty Hunter could still be active. And it really only takes a person or two on payroll, which it should be a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's what I think. I'm like, what is it? I mean, clearly paying one guy to just, I mean, I'm pretty sure there would be community members that would do it for free.
Yeah,
I mean,
seriously.
they probably wouldn't do that. But seriously, one or two people just paying them, like, you could get a lot done, a lot of cleanup done.
Look for the people that are cheating and ban them. I mean, player moderators are effectively useless And I've spoken to many of them. They can mute people for like an hour or two, and then they just come back. There's no ban that they can give, and maybe that'd be too much power for them to be able to ban people. That it would open up for corruption. But those moderators those player moderators in particular could do the job if they were given the power to, and I'm sure there are counterclaims to that. I'd love to hear them, but I think that could be a solution that at no cost, no monetary cost, Jagex simply give them the power to moderate the game in a way that would suppress cheating. That could be a solution.
Yeah, it's tough. I just see these, and I look at it very simply. I'm like, I see the very simple solution. I don't know what goes down there. I don't know what the higher ups really say about any of this kind of stuff. But first of all, I'm surprised that, I mean, we've seen a track record of like if something's broken, they'll just like delete it, like Bounty Hunter and Duel Arena and stuff. But instead of just making nice, healthy changes to it, that could actually be really good for the piece of content. Yeah, I'm interested to see how the PvP arena does when that's ever released, and just kind of,
man, I know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. They've also talked about other PvP mini games like faction wars and stuff coming out, which I'm really excited about because I think it is kind of that extra bit of content for content creators to make. Like I look at Framed. I know Framed has just been starved of like any new content to make, but it's
Poor
like
Kevin.
I don't know. I think there's a little bit of hope to hold on to, at least for the next year or two. Just
I hope so. I mean, Jagex, it's no secret they have a track record of over-promising and under-delivering on things like the Dead Man Mode rerun that took 9 months. That was still a failure. There are many examples, and I could go on for ages disparaging them, but I know, I have some friends in the organization. I know they work hard. I know they want what's best for the game. I can't speak for everyone, of course, in the org, but I know at least the people I'm in contact with, they have the right intentions. But I just like the PvP arena is a perfect example. I think they were shooting for May, and they could say, "Oh, that was just a soft, release date." It's like just every release date's a soft date. Every deadline is missed. Where is the accountability? Why aren't things just getting done? And obviously, I'm not in their organization to know how these things are developed. And obviously, you're running delays. But if you're running delays in every goddamn project, maybe you should make some changes to your organization. Just looking at it from a sheer business perspective, if 9 out of 10 projects, the timelines are missed, something is wrong with the org. It's not code. It's not the community's fault. It's the developers, period. And so there needs to be accountability. They must have a culture where that's just simply acceptable. You can just miss deadlines, or you cannot do your work.
Yeah,
I mean, people not working after hours when they need to be to get stuff done. They hold true in their commitments. I know, and that's not a shot at every moderator. I'm going to go ahead and say I just praise Mod Rock for going above and beyond for the for LMS. I'm very grateful he did that. But sometimes that's what it takes in order to make a difference at a studio. And the PvP arena, I was looking forward to that. I think it was scheduled to go live in May, and here we are, July, and we don't have anything. It's just not acceptable to me. It's really disappointing.
Yeah, it's we've gotten so used to it too, which is like,
right. I know,
just so bad because we all see it's like, okay, you're saying August, it's gonna be December. You're saying this, it's gonna be this.
Yeah.
It's funny how it kind of works. But yeah, no, you're totally right about the 9 out of 10 things. I swear, is every single thing's late.
Yeah, and it's not just PvP. I mean, it's other content as well that's just delayed incessantly. It's just, I think the community is sick of it. But I'll get off my soapbox.
Here's a question I have, kind of a little bit going back to the whole YouTube versus Twitch thing. Do you think, well, my question is basically, will Twitch ever get taken over by YouTube or any other streaming service for that matter? Do you see Twitch? I think YouTube is gonna chip away at Twitch. Twitch and their communities have stood strong despite
competitors entering the market. I mean, Mixer did their best at throwing money at creators to get them onboarded. I just don't think Twitch treats their content creators fairly. I don't think they're compensated enough. I think the support that they get is inadequate. I think the bans are unjustified in a lot of cases. They don't provide enough evidence or context as to what goes against their terms of service, what is acceptable. I don't think they're a very well-run organization at large, and I think a lot of creators are getting really sick of it. And maybe it's someone that I don't know. I don't mean to be so critical. It's just my thought that I think YouTube will be in the chip away. I think they're already starting to, and I think with YouTube being a bigger platform, that if you are a new content creator or an aspiring content creator, I think streaming on Twitch, streaming on YouTube is probably a better alternative. Simultaneously putting a VOD content, so it's like a regular YouTube video up on the platform, but also streaming where your audience is, your biggest audiences, is the right move. But I think YouTube lacks some functionality. Like they just got the equivalent of gift subs. Like they just got that. That may not even launch. I just saw the article like a week ago. That could be in the near future. But I think there are things that Twitch does better than YouTube. That's not even close. Like gift subs as an example.
They've really nailed the monetization of like viewers to creators like big time. I don't know how they did it either. Like they just nailed it. I don't know. Twitch has done some very successful things for sure.
They have. I gotta tip my cap to them, as critical as I was earlier. I mean, obviously what they're doing is working, but I do think they're going to lose market share to YouTube. And I think even Facebook is trying to buy their way into the. I know they're trying to buy their way into the game. We don't have any the category on RuneScape. Jesus, the category on Facebook for RuneScape just doesn't exist yet. There aren't any streamers there, but they are
really
picking
not
up
any.
There's none. At least last I checked, there's zero. But they do have. I mean, they pulled. Who does Dr. Disrespect stream with? Z-Ladder. Sorry for forgetting his name for a second. They pulled him to Facebook, and there are other notable creators that are collecting the bag on Facebook, and they're trying to grow inorganically. And what I mean by that is they're just paying people to very favorable deals to stream on the platform. But what I think they're doing that's a mistake is the requirements are astronomical. They're expecting streamers to be live 40 hours a week. I mean, imagine streaming 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I mean, some people do that, but imagine being tied to a multi-year contract where you have to.
Yeah.
That's craziness. And so I think if they lowered the barrier to entry and started picking off smaller streamers in particular, also the big boys, but reducing the requirements, that they could grow as well. I don't think Facebook poses the biggest threat to Twitch. I think it's definitely, they're called Meta now, but I think it's YouTube that poses the biggest threat.
Yeah, I really wonder with the whole like metaverse coming out, how Facebook's gonna maybe take a little bit more of that share of gaming and stuff. I have no idea. I've just heard things about it, but that is really funny. So when they grab people and they bring them over to Facebook, are they like paying them a salary basically?
Oh yeah.
So that's how it works. It's literally just like they're paying them a salary to
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much
full time.
They're given a fixed rate for basically a monthly rate, the equivalent of what a salary would be.
40 hours is too much, by the way.
I think 30 hours is too much to make as a commitment.
Baseline.
Yeah, it's way too much, and it scares a lot of people off. They have what I call fuck you money at Facebook. They can afford it. They can spend it and they can invest through inorganic means by just throwing money at people to grow their audience on the platform, and they should lower the requirements and continue to pay the big bucks to bring people on if they want to grow. I don't think its functionality is user friendly, as Twitch is, or even YouTube. So they have some user interface work to do there, I think, before it really catches steam. But they have the potential, and I have no idea Facebook seems to always have a trick up their sleeve. They know what they're doing. They're one of the biggest companies in the world with seemingly unlimited resources, and so when you have seemingly unlimited resources, you can do seemingly impossible things. So I don't know what the future holds for them, but I do see I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, always lurking to see what the industry is doing, and I know that they're bringing people on to gaming roles at Meta to grow that. It's not like it's something on the back burner. I mean, they're hiring people, full-time salaried staff to grow. But I think in the meantime, Twitch is just going to continue to dominate and take the lion's share of subs from creators, and continue to ban them in a lot of cases. Unjustifiably.
I have a question. I don't know how much you really have to say on this topic. I'm just curious because I do remember when Mixer came out and they really tried. I mean, they pulled on Ninja and Shroud.
Ninja, yeah.
And I mean, this is very anecdotal. I just remember popping into Mixer 2 times total, and I remember popping into Ninja stream just because that's the only person I even would even recognize on Mixer. But I just clicked his stream and it just seemed dark. It just seemed depressing being there.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just the unfamiliarity of it all and stuff. But again, shortly they just kind of dissolved. They're like, all right, this isn't really worth our time. We're clearly not getting in there with Twitch and YouTube and stuff, so let's just stop, and so they just quit. But do you have any thoughts on what they maybe did wrong, or is there really just no competing with Twitch at this point besides those that have already have a grounded thing like YouTube and Facebook potentially?
Yeah, I don't know a ton about Mixer. That was a bit before my time, before I was super active in the gaming community, at least from the business side of things, to be able to pinpoint exactly what went wrong. But they tried to buy their way into the game. I mean, they mentioned 2 of the biggest names in gaming, Shroud and Ninja, that were signed to 7-figure contracts. And I just think it's a long game to bring people to a new platform. People are just used to going on Twitch to watch live. People are just used to going on YouTube to watch the industry calls VODs, video on demand, just regular what we call YouTube videos, the same way we call a tissue a Kleenex.
Yeah.
At least here in the States, we call videos YouTube videos because it's just the platform to be. So I think it's the long game. I don't think they were profitable enough. I'm certain they were operating at a loss when they were signing those big names. You simply can't recoup that in the short term, and I'm certain they were trying to play the long game, but I'm just assuming the numbers just weren't there. And now I think advertisers are a huge key to getting creators on a platform. Now, Facebook, pretty tough. I've never had a brand come to me ask if I had any Facebook streamer creators. Never, not once. And I don't know any of my industry friends that have either. Maybe I'm just in the wrong, segment, and not getting any exposure. But if another platform, say Mixer, they had, Mixer worked hand in hand with brands like Red Bull and all of the other, blue chip big names that would, simultaneously sign those creators to, endorsement deals, as well as, that platform exclusivity deal. I think they could get a lot of momentum. You got to bring the advertisers to the platform to attract the talent. And then once the talent is there, they build their audience and they're retained. So I think it goes beyond just paying them a salary and throwing money at them. I think they need to integrate sponsors into it as well. But maybe that's just my bias because that's what I cut my teeth in. But I really think that would help.
Yeah, for sure. That's so interesting. We just got 3 just conglomerates, basically. I mean, Google, Amazon, and Facebook, or Meta now, as you said. But it is crazy to think that, really, there is no starting up your own streaming service at this point. It's so impossible to even get close.
It's just not going to be. I mean, maybe there's a chance for some niche, underground community.
But it would never get to the size of what
Never.
we're
I don't
seeing.
think it would. I think it would take a complete meltdown of those organizations in order to allow other, say a startup company to step in the game. Usually I never say never, but I try taking down Amazon, Meta, and YouTube, which is Google.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be an uphill battle.
I really do think, I mean, first of all, I'm happy as a content creator right now because of just the intense competition that's, clearly going on to dominate the streaming industry and videos and everything like that. I mean, YouTube's already nailed it, but Twitch definitely with video game streaming is huge. And I love that. I mean, there is a lot of things that Twitch does wrong, but they have, and I've seen it personally as a Twitch partner, seen them really try to add some incentives. I mean, one of the things they were pushing a couple years ago was just trying to force all their creators to start running ads, like obnoxiously, basically with no other incentive other than just, we're going to force you to run ads. But now, I mean, they're doing a thing starting in July, which is this new campaign for, I'm imagining, the vast majority of creators, where they're actually paying them an upfront, way increased amount of ad revenue as long as they sign a contract saying, I'll run this many ads every hour or something that they stream, as long as they hit a certain threshold. So that gets me excited because, I mean, clearly I'm the one benefiting now because they are trying to keep their Twitch streamers, because I'm assuming some have clearly left to YouTube, and Twitch is not gonna be wanting that for too much longer. Although they don't really seem to care when somebody moves to YouTube. Like they don't say anything about it. They're like,
no.
But what are they supposed to say? Like,
I think it was Shroud. I may be misspeaking.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Shroud, but again, don't quote me. That he was a Twitch partner, and his time came for him to renew, and they didn't do much to keep him. So he said, I mean, this is his testimony. I wasn't involved in any of these deals to know for certain. This is all secondhand, but apparently YouTube rolled out the red carpet. And they were really, really excited to bring him on, and Twitch didn't do much to advocate, to keep him. And it's not just throwing money at people; it's just making them feel important, making them feel heard and supported. That goes a long way, especially for creators that have already, made it. That already have generational wealth that probably aren't counting pennies the same way a smaller creator might be.
Yeah.
And they didn't do very much to retain him. And I know that they cut Dr. Disrespect when he was midstream without providing, a reason why. And he's been on the record saying that as well. And apparently they've reached their resolution. But, I don't particularly, not a fan of how they've treated some of their biggest creators even.
Yeah.
But again, this is an outsider's perspective. I've never had an issue with Twitch personally. Apart from that dickbag, pardon my French, but the guy, God, what was his title, that ran his own highlights channel and was stealing content from creators without asking for their permission. And then one creator spoke up about that content, being plastered on this gaming site. So it was like an esports, like TikTok page. He was on the record. Well, I guess he was technically off the record. These were screenshots that he said, well, they're small anyway. What are they going to do about it? Keep posting their content. I'm paraphrasing, but that's how we treated it. And that was a scandal. And I don't know what they did with him. But it was just really disappointing to see, people on the inside that were treating creators poorly. And that's no way an indication of how I think their whole agency or their whole company treats creators. But I've just seen so many examples that they weren't supportive, or they've been treated people poorly because of their size. And that was unfortunate. And I hope that was rectified. I didn't see a follow-up story to that after it broke and went viral.
Interesting. So I want to give a shout out to the people that have asked some goofy questions. So Good Day Cow says, a man who plays LMS is a great man. Grax, he actually wants to know your thoughts on the Dark Varrock map in LMS.
Oh, yeah. I like it. I think
Which one's
more
better,
variety,
though?
the better. Yeah, I think it's cool. I like it. Playing the old map constantly got a bit mundane. And so to add some variety was cool. I like to see more maps come out. They can't be that difficult to develop, I would say. You know, it's content that is already coded in the game. I mean,
Hmm.
Dark Varrock is already Varrock.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are changes that need to be made. So I'd love to see some variety, but I understand that that's not like the forefront of their priorities right now with all the other things that they have to get done. But
Nor will
I
it ever
enjoy it.
be. Nor
Yeah,
will it ever.
I hope.
Just mod rock has to do with some more spare time stuff.
What a legend.
I think the map's too big, personally.
It is pretty
And
big.
I maybe I haven't familiarized myself with it enough, but I swear, like they say, oh, a crate landed here. I'm like, where? Like there's a
Yeah.
bajillion spots. I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah. I have like 11,000 points in LMS and I still have to open the mini map to figure out where some of the places are. That's my fault. I should just
Damn.
know, but I can attest that it's pretty big, but um it works. You know, the games move rather quickly. I think they're about 10-15 minutes or so, which is adequate. Like there's
Yeah.
never that much time where you're running around where
Mhm.
where no one can find you. Like the fog does a pretty good job of bringing people in. So I'd like to see more. Yeah, good question.
Yeah. Okay. Automelogy. Just wanted to say the Wolf of Varrock. I chuckled when he tweeted it. I chuckled a little bit.
I love it. I'll take that title. Thank you.
And then Eviescape also is asking, how does he feel about the nature spirit quest? You're gonna have to go into that.
Oh God, Jake. He likes to bring up my most traumatic RuneScape
What
memory any
happened?
chance we get. Nature Spirit Quest and I have a complicated relationship. So I spent, I told you I didn't play RuneScape for a while, and when I got back into it, I was a fresh professional. I didn't have that much time to dump into the game,
Hmm.
and so I would play maybe an hour or so a day, and I spent the better part of 2 years maxing a pure. Didn't have a main account. This is my only account. I maxed pure 99 range, 99 mage, 1 defense, 50 attack. And I finally perfected the PKing account that I've always wanted. And I wanted to, before I got into the groove of PKing, I got my construction level up, of course. Uh, so I could, teleport around pretty easily. And then I wanted the house portal that goes directly to the Grand Exchange. So PK Worlds, you don't have to use like a Ring of Wealth, or I don't think I had the construction level at the time to do like whatever the jewelry boxes that has the Ring of Wealth on it. So I was like, all right, well, I just do this quest, Nature Spirit, and boom, I have access to the Grand Exchange now, and I can bank easy. What I didn't know is that Nature Spirit gives defense experience, and I ruined my pure after
Oh
spending 2 years
God.
maxing it before I PK'd once on it. I
Oh
ruined it
no.
at a 13 defense because of the quest.
Oh my God. What was did your just heart sink? I mean, what happened?
I I could not believe it. I was actually saddened by that mistake.
Oh,
Like it could have easily been avoided had I just scrolled down in the guide and
yeah.
saw that it gave defense MP. But I didn't. I made the mistake. I completed the quest, and my stomach sunk. And I don't know if I played the game for like a month. I was just devastated. And then, of
Jesus.
course, I'm telling my friends, EVscape being one of them, hey, you will never believe what I just did.
Oh
And
God.
I don't think I've heard anyone laugh harder in my life. He was not showing any sympathy for me. So I thought, and then being the awesome guy that he is, he made it pure for me. And my disclaimer is it's not for me, it's a shared account, but he made this so I could PK on it,
That's sweet.
and made a video about it. And so nice of him to do that. But except the first like 30 seconds is look at Mason, this big, stupid, idiot moron ruined his pure. So I'm going to make him one because he doesn't have enough time to do it himself. And so while it was a nice gesture, yeah, he sure did rip into me. And that was all all fair game. So I got to use the account. I PK on it to 50 TAC, baby pure, and I'm very grateful.
Very cool. Yeah, that's got to be just the worst feeling ever. I mean, I think the closest thing I've had to just your heart dropping to the bottom of your stomach. I mean, just that horrible ache and feeling. I almost lost my eternal glory because I went onto a Target world out in the wilderness doing a close. I almost died. Like literally, I had no food left. My stream ran in and tried to protect me. There was like 5 PKers and singles, and I was trying to get him off of me. Anyway, I could feel already my heart sinking because I was like, I'm going to die and I'm going to lose this. And then somehow I was able to gap them and log out. But like those moments where you're like, I know it's just pixels. I know this doesn't really matter, but damn, this is really causing me emotional distress. Right
I
now,
know you spend a lot of time on it. Like,
Yep.
it doesn't matter if it's just a game. Like, it's something we're passionate about. And if you're to lose it over a mistake, you have a right to feel bad about it. And so, yeah, I'm lucky. I ended up I didn't have a main account anyway, so I turned that 13th defense pure into a main account, which is what I use now. Maybe Mason is the name. If any listeners are curious and want to look me up on the high scores, I think I gave up. Maybe Mason, yeah, MAYBEMASON space.
Okay.
And so it's funny because a lot of if one of my clients needs to use like a maxed account for whatever reason, like usually a PvP tournament, they'll can access my account and use it. And so people think I'm different creators because they see my accounts on like Oda Block stream or other tournaments, which is pretty funny. Except when they try hard and they want nothing more than to bury a content creator. Although I'm just an innocent little manager here trying to get a bit of an ounce of enjoyment out of the game by playing some LMS. They sweat on me. And it's funny. I'm actually recovering from sickness right now, and my first time playing in like a week or two, like really rusty. I log into LMS, like I start playing it, and who spawns next to me? Freaking solo mission.
Is he? He's pretty good though, right?
Yeah, he's good. I mean, he's good for sure. But I always talk about how like good I am in LMS. Like that's the one thing like I can do in the game. And he buries me. He buries me, and I think he was training for the Dead Man Mode rerun. It was like the day of the event, and yeah, he kills me, and that was sour. I can't wait to get him back. And then it was the next day. There's no excuses with this one because I was warmed up, but Reese, who I look up to and have met, he's an awesome PKer. Total sweat, and I love it. Like I love it when people
go hard.
Go hard and use every mechanic they can to their advantage. He buried me the first time as well, and then the second time, that was like in the finals of the LMS game. He destroyed me. And I'm not going to make excuses. Our gear wasn't that different, but the very next game we spawned next to each other with fresh gear, and it was almost dead even. I got some pretty terrible RNG. He still deserved a win, don't get me wrong, but it was a hell of a lot closer. So it felt good to at least give someone a run for their money. That's pretty respectable in the PvP community.
The worst thing about LMS is when you get, because clearly you could just have horrible RNG where you do like 150 damage less than you should have, and the other person just starts lashing it out on you. But the worst thing is when a really good PKer gets all the RNG. So you feel like, yeah, I could potentially, give this guy like a hard time, like try to
make
chip him down, but he just is nonstop dominating you. So you just look like a pathetic little worm just sitting there, just taking it all because you're not doing any damage. Every single splash is missing. That's probably the worst feeling. I always just end up rage quitting. Last time I did LMS, actually, I rage quit my stream because I was just so irritated.
Damn, yeah, it's frustrating sometimes, and there's nothing worse when there's like an Iron Man. I don't mean to call it just Iron Man. It could be anyone that's just not that good at PvP, but their RNG is just demon mode, and they just melt you.
That's
they're
bad
hitting
too.
With 30 bolts through prey range. They're 2-ticking everything. they just don't deserve to win, and they hit you with the sit, or you're so bad.
Just
when
bolt
you
ragging you the whole time, and you're
Yeah,
splashing like
oh,
8 splashes in a row, and you're just getting chipped away 20s
that
nonstop.
happens.
It's
Like,
so
just
bad.
raggers
It's so
get under my skin, man, because sometimes it's just far too close, just sheerly based on RNG. Like, I'll be out or only have 1 or 2 food, and this guy hasn't even maged me once, and somehow, and I'm still
Yeah.
empty D'ing him. He's just,
Yeah,
oh gosh, they
it's
know how
bad.
to get under my skin. But it's a fun game. I love it, and eventually I'll max. You can hold me to that. Maybe next time I'm on the kind enough to bring me onto the podcast, I'll be closer. But I think I've given up for now. Like, I just can't train runecrafting, man. I can't train mining. I can't bring myself to do it. And the little time I get to play the game, like, I just
Yeah,
can't
that's the last thing you
bring
want to do.
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. Um, so I have just my final last question that I like to ask, but I want to ask you first. Is there anything else that you would like to cover, either going along with RuneScape, PvP events, Crusader talent, what you see for the future of sponsorships and stuff? Is there anything else you'd like to mention before we wrap up?
Yeah. I think there's people are taking notice of how valuable the endorsement of gaming content creators are in the creator economy. Creator economy is a fancy buzzword for the money that goes in and comes out of content creation that goes beyond gaming. And gamers are particularly get a very high return on their investment, and there's people that are very sharp that are taking notice. I'm really proud to be working with Harvard Business School, working with 3 marketing professors from Harvard to conduct research on the creator economy. So we're going to be focusing our research on like how brands, creators, and platforms, create, capture, distribute value. The role of advertising in the creator economy. Can firms and creators directly manage customer attention? How do you optimize content? How do you best incentivize creators? How to measure the success of creator campaigns? Like, you have some of the most brilliant marketing minds in the world, me excluded. I just get to work with these awesome individuals that are really going to be conducting academic research that is going to be useful for practitioners like myself that are working with sponsors every day. And I just want to give a word. This isn't just a call out that we're working with a cool school and conducting research with them, but it's to give a bit of hope to content creators out there that are trying to grow or trying to make it. That, look, people are noticing, how great you guys are. And that goes to you too, Sae Bae. I mean, you guys, content creators, are the lifeblood of gaming, certainly within RuneScape. You guys are very valuable, not just to your fans, but to advertisers. And this is a legitimate career in this industry. And no matter how many people maybe look down on you or think less of your profession because you create content, there are a lot of people, particularly in academia now, that are taking notice because of the groundwork that these early creators have made. I think the best is yet to come in content creation. I want to be as much a part of it as I possibly can be. And so that's why I've dedicated my career and a lot of my, not just my professional career, but also my free time in pursuing a doctoral degree that examines exactly that, how gamers are effective, ambassadors of brands and can exchange value with brands. And so it's really important that you guys don't lose hope, even if you're slow to grow. You're very valuable, and I'm doing my very best behind the scenes to help empower you guys, and really wish everyone well. That's doing their best to make their way in the world by creating content, particularly in gaming. And so, if you're a content creator, maybe you don't reach the threshold to be managed by Crusader talent, I absolutely love to hear from you. I mean, there are creators that I don't manage that send me sponsors all the time that, like, hey, is this legit? Hey, I'm trying to navigate this tricky situation with a sponsor or a platform. Do you mind lending your ear to help? I love to do that. And so just because I don't manage you or you're not formally a part of Crusader, please reach out. At the very least, I'd like to, if you're a RuneScape content creator, I'd like to invite you to our private server to be a part of our community. You don't need to be signed with Crusader to be a part of our content creator community. We do have, hidden channels and such for those like team communications, but it's open to all, large and small. So please reach out. You can DM the official Crusader Twitter or myself _Mason Reading Twitter. Just say hi, reach out, and I'm happy to engage and chit chat with everyone that's in the space. So please don't be shy. I love meeting new people.
I think that was very inspiring, and I will have all your links down in the description. So anybody that's listening that is curious, I'll have the Discord, Crusader Talents Twitter, and of course your Twitter. Is there any other links, by the way?
No, Twitter I think is the best platform. I mean, you can drop our website, but that's mostly brand facing. But if you're curious about what we do, we have an FAQ there that. If you're interested in the business side of this industry, we actually tell a lot site. But don't be a stranger. We are a business, but we started this business as an active service, as a hobby. It wasn't until 2021 that I even paid myself a penny from the business to run this thing. I had ran the business for over a year before even pulling any funds out, just because I enjoy it so much. And so if you're struggling to make your way or want some help or run an event, Crusader is also looking to empower more creators that want to run events. So if you have an event and you want a little bit of funding for maybe a prize pool, or just don't feel guilty in paying yourself too, because it takes a lot of time to produce those things. So if you need a bit of a boost to justify it, please reach out and we can talk about it. We're going to be sponsoring the Speedrun Cup and helping produce that. We're also going to be, I'm certain, even though it's not in the works, but the next Battle Royale will, of course, be a part of that. We want to be part of more events. We want to be a part of the solution that helps grow the community. And so, definitely don't be shy. I've said it 1,000 times. If you're a creator, reach out. And even if you're a fan and want to have some questions about the industry, I love talking about it. It's what makes me tick. So, you know how to get a hold of me.
Very, very cool. Seriously, it's been like very, very refreshing talking to you, and it's really cool to hear your perspective on what content creation really means and how we've just scratched the surface, basically, of seeing where it's going. And it's really exciting to hear that there's actually academics going after finding out more about this, and I think it's all really cool, and it does inspire me. Like it really just gets me excited for the future of content creation. And I do want to ask one last question I'd love to ask my guests, which is 3 shout outs, and that can be from anybody. It doesn't have to be the top 3, of course. It can just be any that you feel deserve a shout out. So I'll give you the time now.
Yeah. 3 shout outs. Well, it's got to be to my partner, Brooke. This business wouldn't be possible. Daughter, she's an unsung hero. Most of the creators speak with me directly. We have team chats where she's involved, but she's mostly behind the scenes. It doesn't get enough praise. It's always directed towards me for signing the deal, or the brand partnerships team. So she definitely doesn't get enough. She's on Twitter as well. We'll link her in case you're curious on anyone who's listening is curious on what she has to say.
Very cool.
You find her there. She's wonderful, makes a wonderful business partner, and even better, life partner. We're getting married next year. Very excited about
Congrats.
it. Thank you. Yeah, Crusader wouldn't be in existence without her, and many of your favorite content creators simply wouldn't be doing this full time or at all if it wasn't for the work that we do to help monetize the content, and it's because of her. And that shout out I'm going to use. I'm doing a 2-for-1, but it really is the whole team at Crusader. Hopefully they made it this far and I haven't bored them too much, but we have interns, we have full-time team, part-time team, contractors that work with us. It's not possible without you guys, we would be a hell of a lot smaller. We wouldn't be able to do as much good in the world without you. And again, a lot of unsung heroes behind the scenes that really hustle, that are really passionate about this. So first shout out goes to my team for sure. It's second, it's got to go to my big three, EVscape, especially for putting his blind faith in me, on that that late night in 2019 where I pitched this idea, this vision of this business to you, and you believed in me, and we made it work. And it's been an awesome friendship. I've been extremely grateful to know a guy as great as him. I mean, you'll never meet a more loyal person than him ever in your life. I'm serious. He's the best friend anyone could ever ask for, and he's kind of a package deal with Rakesy and Solo Mission, who also believed in Crusader and in our vision when we were nobodies. And yeah, I'm very grateful for the faith they put, and it certainly worked out for them. I signed their checks, so I know it has. It's great. And then Hootie Tootie as well as a part of that package deal. Hootie's been great behind the scenes and making events like the Battle Royale happen.
Yes.
He even came in with some awesome questions for the podcast, and I'm grateful. But his graphics, if Mod Goblin, another Mod Aiza, if you happen to be listening, this man just put together the best trailer for an event for the Speedrun Cup on Eevescape's channel that I've ever seen. Say, have you seen that?
Yes, and I gave a huge shout out on my last ramble a couple days ago. It's
amazing,
incredible.
He Hootie is moving the production value of RuneScape content forward, and talk about unsung heroes. He doesn't produce content himself. He's a friend, serial what do you call it, Twitch moderator and meme maker, but his edits are like out of this world. And back to my call for attention from Jagex, if you guys are listening, this guy definitely needs to be involved in some paid media, whether it's advertisements. You need not work with external third-party marketing companies. You have enough talent within your RuneScape community to keep keep the funding within the community, particularly with editors like him.
For real,
he's fantastic. And so, I encourage you, anyone who's listening, if you haven't, seen this trailer, once the podcast is done here and I've finished my third shout out, go check it out on Eevescape's channel on YouTube and also on Twitter. It's mesmerizing.
It's insane. It gave me the chill. It gave multiple people the chills. I've heard multiple accounts on that. It gave them the chills just watching it because it's so good.
Yeah, he somehow is able to top himself time and time again. I mean, every battle royale, every event that they do, it's like, oh my god, this is amazing. Nothing has been made like this before. This level of quality and attention to detail. I could talk for ages about it, but it's good. Watch it if you haven't. The third, our new friends over at Harvard Business School. It's been awesome. It was a cold outreach to one of the professors who I look up to, Ayelet Israeli. She's a brilliant marketer, an even better person, even better academic, and has written some great work on influencer marketing that's bringing advancing the body of knowledge of marketing, and is very interested in creator economy, and has been leading it from Harvard side, at least will be once we kick off our research here in a couple of weeks together. I'll be joining them on campus, but the faith in us to work with us, as we're just first year doctoral students. They could work with literally anyone in the world, any company in the world, and for them to choose to work with Crusader is extremely humbling. I've always been frankly jealous of those that got to attend the best institutions in the world, and the fact that I get to work alongside the professors and help teach them and learn from them and work alongside them and write academic papers, to help move the industry along is extremely humbling. And there are many other people from their institution that we're working with as well that also are worthy of thanks, but particularly her. I know our research will do a lot of good for a lot of content creators. They don't even know it yet. We don't even know what we'll uncover yet in our research. And so the fact that they're willing to dedicate the time and resources to bring us out to campus and work with us is extremely humbling, and is one of my most, will surely be one of my most cherished memories of working in this industry. So thank you to the Harvard team for working with us.
Very, very cool. All right, Mason, I had an absolute pleasure today picking your brain and actually learning a lot myself. So I really appreciate that, all the insights, and that you were very willing to pretty much share anything that was asked. So I really appreciate your time tonight. And for those wondering, and I will have that trailer link down, Hootie Tootie's trailer. He's actually going to be on the cast in 2 weeks.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited to talk to him. Never talked to him before, although I already feel like we're friends because he pops in here and there, and we'll chat in Twitch chats and stuff together. But guys, go down in the description of the video. Go give Mason a follow on Twitter. Be sure to check out Crusader Talent Twitter there as well, and the Discord. And there'll be some other links as well, so go check out the description. If you guys would like to support the Sae Bae cast and get your name on the title screen for $2 a month, you can pledge on Patreon. There's also a description down there. And next week, I already said 2 weeks from now we're getting Hootie Tootie on, but this next week we are going to be getting Pure Spam on. Finally, I mean, again, it's just been months and months of scheduling, I feel like, and so we're finally getting him on, and a lot of good guests for July that I won't leak the other ones quite yet because they're not set in stone, but look forward to a great month of guests. But Mason, thank you very much. If you have any final words before we wrap up, but yeah, that's it for me.
Oh, thank everyone for their time, for listening. Don't be strangers. In the Speedrun Cup that Hootie Tootie and EVscape are leading is July 15th, 16th, and 17th. You can find all the details on their Twitter, and we're excited to be a sponsor of that event and help support creators that are looking to do more outside of the box events to create interesting content for all of you. So thank you so much, Mr. Bae, for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And personally, if there's ever a way that I could lend myself as assistance to you, particularly as you grow, and even now, navigating the world of sponsors and the business side of this industry is awfully tough. I'm just a message on Discord away. You can always reach out, and I'm happy to have made a new friend after the end of this podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Much love. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.